So I want to welcome you all to the latest innovation webinar series. We've been hosting this since January in collaboration with the Waterford Chamber and with Toys for Engineers, which is on the 2nd of October. So if you don't have it in your diary, pop it in the diary now. We are recording this and we will send out the recording and slides at the end. There's a QR code you can scan so we can get your information. There will be a Q&A at the end, so please use the option that you should see there on your screen. We're going to try to limit this. We don't want to have too much PowerPoint and bore you all to tears, so we're going to try to keep the first half to PowerPoint and the second half to discussion, a panel discussion and Q&A. So it's a really good opportunity to ask any questions that you have. And I suppose the main objective for this is to let you all know that SETU is here. We are here to support regional industries, national industry in R&D, regardless of the size. There's so many different mechanisms here in SETU that can support startups right up to large companies. We often have people say, oh, we hear the term R&D and we think you might be too big for what we need, but there's a lot that can be offered. So James O'Sullivan is our head of commercialization here in SETU, and he's going to kind of give a breakdown of the mechanisms, and then you're going to hear from the technology gateways. There's 17 in the network, and there's 4 based in SETU. So the guys will kind of give you a quick introduction as to who they are, what they do, and kind of the hot topic in each of the areas. So without further ado, I will hand it over to James. And again, if you have any questions, you can pop them into the Q&A and we will answer them at the end. Okay, James, I will hand it over to yourself if I can get this to move.
Okay, Deirdre, thanks very much. So as Deirdre said, I'm the head of innovation and commercialization here at Southeast Technological University. And exactly as Deirdre was pointing out, what we'd like to do today is really set the scene for your engagement with Southeast Technological University. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk a little bit about the overall strategy for the university and, you know, our purpose, our remit, what we're trying to achieve over the next 5 years. I'll also talk about the engagement model. So, you know, when do you engage? How do you engage? What are the mechanisms to engage? And specifically in this webinar, I'll talk about the technology gateway. So I'll allude to the other research that we do within the university. Then what I'll do is I'll just provide you with some statistics, just so that you understand the the volume of activity that we undertake within the university. So you have a good feel for, like, look, you're not alone. We're here to work with you. You have many other enterprises, entrepreneurs, others who will be in a similar situation to yourself, whether you're fixing a product, whether you're working on a service innovation, whether you're, as Deirdre said, whether you're a micro enterprise, whether you're a founder of a company, whether you're an MNC. We work at all sorts of different companies. So I'll give a flavor for that as well. So our strategy, as it's set out, is called Connecting for Impact. And that's exactly what we're trying to do. We're trying to connect within our own region to have a very significant impact. So what the university wants to be is the university wants to be like fundamental in the region to drive innovation. We want to be there to drive entrepreneurial activities. We want to make sure that we're a learning region and fundamentally that we reverse the brain drain, increase skills enhancement within the labor force, and ultimately graduate about 34,000 graduates in the next, between 2023 and 2028. So the key thing for me are those first 2 points. It's about being an innovative region, entrepreneurial region. And so us as a university, we undertake great research, we do great teaching activities, but innovation and entrepreneurship really comes from our partners. So, the members, the attendees on this are the people who are the entrepreneurs, are the people who are the innovators. And for us, we can facilitate that entrepreneurship, or we can facilitate that innovation. And today's talk will really describe some of the areas that we can cover in terms of entrepreneurship and innovation activities. So just to be very clear, it's exactly as Deirdre sort of pointed out. It's not that we just work with MNCs. In fact, most of the companies that we work with will be micro enterprises, SMEs, entrepreneurs, but we work with the bigger companies as well. And for us, the four pillars, the enablers that are written underneath the strategy, two of them are critically important to me. So the first one is our engagement. And there's like the holding hands picture there. That's symbolic of what we're trying to achieve. We want to be long-term partners with the entrepreneurs, with the founders, with the companies in the region. We want to develop long-term relationships so that as you progress and you develop as a company, that we're there to support you all the way through your journey. So whether you're, early stage, whether you're a multinational working on advanced services, advanced products, we will be there for you all the way through. So that partnership is absolutely fundamental to us. Also, on the other side, you have the innovation and research pillar or enabler. So for us, we undertake continual research within our research groups, and that research enables us to stay with the state of the art. So you might think to yourself, look, I'm coming up with a new concept. No one's thought of this before. Absolutely. But there'll be some background capability or some technology or some service provision or ideation that we can help you with. So through all of our strategy, the fundamental thing for us is having that engagement with the region and being able to deliver impact. So you're a key target, a key partner for us. And it's important that all the way through everything we do in terms of our research activities, in terms of supports we give, that we identify that and that you're a partner for us. Okay, next slide, please, Deirdre. So this might look quite complicated, but it's a relatively straightforward diagram. And it's really trying to point out when to engage, because sometimes companies miss the opportunity or individuals miss the opportunity to engage because they think, I'm not at the right stage, or I'm not at the right level of development, or I haven't, I've just got some sort of problem that I need to work on. So if you look at the middle part of the diagram, it goes from what's called TRL level 1 to TRL level 9. And essentially TRL level 1 is concept. It's just, you have an idea, something that you might not have tested. TRL level 3, you might have a working prototype in your garage, or you might have something that's working, but it's, it might be 5 years out, right up to TRL level 9, where you have a system, you have a functional process, but there might be a problem with that. It might not be delivering the service you need, or the product itself might fail in particular ways. And so for us, as part of SETU, we're trying to deliver across that whole spectrum of areas for companies, but also for individuals as well. So on the left-hand side, you can see SETU. That's an area we play in TRL level 1, 2, and 3. So that's coming up with fundamental research, looking at concepts, ideas, and we can help you in those areas. And we've lots of research groups, across nursing, across psychology, in lots of different areas that can provide supports around that. But the fundamental, I suppose, the fundamental architecture within the university to serve industry, and that's micro enterprise, SMEs, are what's called our technology gateways. And you're going to hear from our gateways in a couple of minutes. The four gateways are SEAM, PMBRC, Design Plus, and ICS at Walton. And those gateways, and this is a very important point, those gateways themselves are solely set up to serve industry needs. So the remit of those centers is to work with industry to ensure that innovation and research is going into industry. So they're on a day-to-day basis, that is their focus. That's what they do. And in addition to that, what that drives out a very high professional service that industry gets. So continually we hear feedback from industry about the services that are provided by our gateways, wonderful feedback in terms of, great delivery of service, on-time delivery of service. And that's really, really important because they are absolutely set up for that. In addition, other activities that we can do as part of supporting companies, and this is related to when to engage. We can help you with activities in terms of engaging with the likes of the LEOs, Enterprise Ireland, Research Ireland, EU, if you're looking for grants. And we also have funders that circle around us, like private sector funders that provide funding to companies as well. So there's a whole spectrum of offering that the university actually provides. But in particular, the gateways are instrumental in providing services to companies. So if I can have next slide, please. So what does that look like? So if we think about the engagement activity that we undertake and the success that we have, if we look over the last 4 years, we've had 7 spin-out companies out of SETU. So this is where we don't necessarily have a partner, but or we might have someone coming into the university and they actually take out a technology and we create a brand new company. And what I like about this is this demonstrates that not only are we there to provide supports to industry and serve industry, we also do this ourselves. So we know the difficulty in setting up a company and trying to develop new markets and trying to get products available out there on the market. So we run our own companies, and typically what we do is we license the technology out of those companies to other companies to try support the region. We've had a few successful sales of those companies over the years. And in total, we have a few hundred jobs in the region in those spin-out companies. So that's really successful for us and it's really important for us. But the real mainstay, and this is the point I was making earlier, we run 24 innovation partnerships over that period of time, 400 innovation vouchers, and over 1,000 consultancy projects. So what that demonstrates is the amount of activity, the amount of engagement we have with companies. And across those type of projects, we have all sorts of companies. So we might have, a small company working on a consultancy project that may only be a few €100. We may have a much bigger company working on an innovation partnership that could be hundreds of thousands of euros, where we're developing, bespoke products for them. But where a lot of companies come to us as a first, or SMEs, or even multinationals come to us for a first engagement, is through the likes of innovation vouchers. So innovation vouchers are a very specific scheme where Enterprise Ireland provide up to €10,000 in funding. And for that, you can get an amount of work done by the Gateway. The only thing that's a cost to the industry is paying the VAT. And I believe the VAT is potentially recoverable. So you can see from the scale of operations, like we're doing like over 1,500 engagement with companies over the last 4 years. And it's testament that most of the engagements are probably repeat business. The companies come back to us to do some further work. So they may come in initially on an innovation voucher, but then they go on to do fully funded consultancy projects where they come in and they say they want to do a 6-week project with us to develop, it could be all sorts of things. It could be in life sciences, it could be in agri-tech, it could be advanced materials, it could be in ICT. So there's a whole scope of opportunity for you to work with us, and that's the main thing. So if I got the next slide, please. That's the main takeaway that I'd say in relation to today. If you're not sure, you have an idea, maybe you have a problem in your company, maybe there's a service provision, there's some service development you'd like to consider, well, just drop us a line on tto@setu.ie or call the number there in front of you, and we'll have a discussion with you, and we'll work out where you're best placed. And often it's the case, we can give you some guidance, and we may decide that, again, as I said, we want to develop a partnership. You may not want to work with us, this year, but actually by knowing who's available to work with you, you might see there's an opportunity for us to work with you in the future. And long term, what we want to do is try to develop partnerships with companies in our region. So thank you very much. And I'll hand over to my colleague, Ramesh, who's going to talk about advanced manufacturing.
Yeah, thank you, James. And good afternoon, everyone. It's Ramesh Raghavendra. I'm the director of the SEAM Research Center here in Waterford. Anyway, by the way of introduction, SEAM Research Center is an ISO 9001 certified center. Launched in 2009, it has now become one of the leading technology gateway center, providing materials engineering solutions and manufacturing expertise for wide-ranging industrial sector. Yeah. So this year, in fact, we are celebrating 16 years of service to industries, driving its growth. Yeah. We currently service over 350 industries, both, as James was telling, we work with micro, small, medium, and large-scale enterprises. And in fact, in terms of sector-wise, we work with from medical devices to pharma, precision engineering to construction, electronics, and also the food sectors. Yeah. So if you ask me what is new at SEAM, yeah, we recently opened a material sustainability lab, which was opened by James Lawless, and there were 2 other ministers, John Cummins and Mary Butler, were there in February of this year. And this lab will initially help cement and polymer recycling industries seeking to solve materials-based sustainability challenges. Yeah. For example, right, you may aware cement industries are one of the largest polluters, right? If you take in Ireland, the total carbon emission from the cement sector alone amounts to nearly 5% of the total national emissions. Yeah. So, and also because of that, now cement industries now have stringent regulations from EU to reduce their carbon emissions, say by 30% by 2030, and they are expected to be carbon neutral by 2050. So we are currently working with an industry called Manac Cements based in Cavan. Yeah. Formerly, there are Queen Cement on a 3-year innovation partnership project. We are supporting their goal towards producing low carbon cements. Yeah. Likewise, right, in terms of polymer recycling industry, right, we are going to begin work shortly with Trifor Resources, an Irish clean tech industry established in Thurles, who are transforming the recovered waste plastics into a high-grade new waxes and fuel. We have done the groundwork, and we hope to commence working with them very soon on inspecting of incoming raw materials, and also we'll be acting as a QC, quality control, for their finished products. Yeah. So just I'm giving you these two examples, one for cement industry and a polymer industries, right? Okay, so in terms of the other capabilities, this is one of the latest trends for us, right? So we work with other four technology themes, right? Number one is we are the CT scanning expert in Ireland, providing non-destructive inspection solutions, right? In fact, SEAM is Ireland's largest industrial CT and X-ray imaging center, right? Recently, and again in February, we opened one of its kind in Europe, 450 kV CT scanner, right? So along with that, we have 2 other CT scanners as well, yeah. And so using CT, apart from non-destructive inspections, we also do product design optimization, and also we provide metrology solutions, yeah, using CT, yeah. Then the third area is we are big into 3D printing, yeah. We do both metal printing as well as polymer 3D printing, and we have 3 metal printers and several polymer printers, yeah. And so using these printers, we design, we optimize, we build the product, and we also validate the product as well, because we have CT scanners and various other analytical equipment, right? We provide validation as well, yeah. And then our fourth area is we are big into engineering simulations, and so we use an ANSYS platform where we use both finite element analysis and computational fluid dynamics. Yeah. So we're using finite element simulations. We use component design optimization and failure analysis. And using computational fluid dynamics, we use CFD for design of heating and cooling systems. Then, for example, we use that for machine cooling and also for high vac systems. And then we have used CFD for data center cooling in terms of modeling the data center system for AC cooling and AC cooling and heating, and then external environment temperatures and heat transfer across the wall, floor, and ceiling boundaries, and so forth, right? And we have also worked with wastewater industries in assistance in monitoring the quality of water. And we have assisted the leisure centers, for example, assessing the airflow and heat transfer within the leisure center pool hall. Yeah. So we have used this in simulation for wide-ranging sectors, right? And then the last one, the fifth area, right? Being a materials research center, we do a lot of material characterization. If you want to analyze, either you want to see a degradation of a plastic material, or if you want to identify a contaminant in your product or anything like that. So we do a lot of those kind of things. And also, if you want to find out any strength of the material, or if you want to find out a grade of a material or something like that, we help industries in all those kind of things, right? And of course, we also do a lot of failure analysis. Yeah, if some product is broken, and if you want to find out why it failed and what is the source of failure, and we do that investigation as well. Yeah, by providing all these things, right? In fact, no, like as I was telling you, we are helping over 350 industries. In fact, for a multitude of industries, now we have become an R&D arm of the institutions, right? So, for example, for companies like Value in TUM, we are the validation center, right? Whenever they make product, we do the validation for them. Yeah. So like that, we do that for a lot of other companies. Yeah. So just in summary, right, come and talk to us, right, if you've got any materials related issues, or if you want to perform any non-destructive inspections, or if you want to analyze a contaminant, or if you have got any failures on your product, and if you want to investigate, please come and talk to us. And we have a very good website called www.seam.ie, and there's all the contact details are there. Thank you with that.
Okay, Liam.
Okay, thanks, James, and thanks, Ramesh, for that. Liam Fitzgerald is my name. I manage ICS Technology Gateway, which is the commercial face of the Walton Institute. and we facilitate businesses to engage with the research community in Walton and to access research, development and innovation funding. Walton Institute is the Institute for Information and Communication Systems Science in SETU, founded in 1996 as TSSG and achieving institute status in 2021. Walton colleagues have successfully secured in excess of 150 million in competitive funding and commercial work over nearly 30 years. Working with businesses like you is an important part of what we do. There are more than 70 researchers and engineers in Walton with expertise in areas like mobile networks, communication services, mixed reality, Internet of Things, quantum communications, AI and data, and professional services. This expertise is applied across numerous sectors, including healthcare, agri-tech, transport, energy, and entertainment. We say that we are in the business of smart everything, everywhere. So a key trend of interest to all of us, I think, at the moment is the potential AI has for business. Since ChatGPT launched in November 2022, AI has become something that people can easily interact with. People are enthusiastic about the potential benefits. Chatbots like ChatGPT, DeepSeek, Grok, Claude, and others can bring to everyday life and to business. In reality, AI has been around for the last 70 or 80 years, and colleagues in Walton Institute have been researching and using AI technology for more than a decade. This expertise is being applied in AI-driven projects today with high potential startup businesses, SMEs, and multinational organisations based in Ireland. Two examples in the southeast are projects with Waterford-based business Carton Controls, who produce valve products for the pharmaceutical sector and sell those worldwide, and Carlow-based Feed Alpha Group, who want to differentiate their product offering using sustainable AI. Funding for these two projects was secured through Enterprise Ireland Innovation Partnership Programme funding, which provides up to 80% funding or €200,000 for highly innovative research projects with business. Innovation vouchers from Enterprise Ireland, which are, as James has mentioned, €10,000 grants available to any Irish limited company for eligible innovation, are often the starting point in the collaboration between Walton Institute and our business partners. Another innovation funding solution available through the Walton Institute is Entire EDIH, which is Entire European Digital Innovation Hub. This solution offers no-cost funding to eligible SMEs to launch innovation projects with Walton Institute, funded by the European Union. SMEs are not required to make any payment for innovation services. Your contribution is through your de minimis aid entitlements of €300,000 over a rolling 3-year period. Entire EDIH is one of 4 European digital innovation hubs in Ireland. There are 226 hubs around Europe. The primary objective of these hubs is to support the digital skills and capacities of SMEs. While Entire EDIH is particularly interested in AI, digital skills, cybersecurity, and high-performance computing, all of the Walton research areas are available. As mentioned earlier, the launch of ChatGPT in November 2022 was very significant in supercharging interest in AI. In the last 2 years in particular, we in Walton Institute have been very focused on trying to help ground and demystify the opportunity AI presents for business. In October 2023, for example, and in collaboration with the Southeast Regional Skills Forum, we ran Discover AI, a half-day in-person event in Kilkenny, which was attended by over 100 business leaders, where we discussed AI for business. In 2025, we have delivered 2 webinars to date on generative AI and AI for business, and a 3rd webinar focused on the funding opportunities available for research, development, and innovation. All of these webinars are recorded and available on the Walton Institute YouTube channel. So to sum up, ICS Technology Gateway is the commercial face of the Walton Institute, and we are available to discuss and support your innovation journey. All details on waltoninstitute.ie. Back over to you, James.
Thank you very much, Liam. If I can pass on to Ailish now to give us an overview of Design Plus, that'd be great.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. My name is Ailish Delaney, and I lead the Design Plus Technology Gateway. We're based in the Carlow campus on SETU. So our real main focus is about harnessing design to drive innovation and competitiveness in industry. And we mainly work with companies of all sizes, but typically predominantly the companies we work with are SMEs. So really what we do is we're very practical and tangible. We really try to help companies turn ideas into tangible products and services and strategies. So we do this really through two means. Our two offerings are product design and design strategy. So typically when people hear about product design, they often think that it's just how something looks. But in reality, it is much broader than that. So product design for us is all about solving real problems for users. So what we always do, we always consider the usability, the functionality, the manufacturing ability, and the value. So the process for our product design runs end to end. So it starts with like the research and the insights through to ideation. We look at prototyping, we test the product, then we refine the product based on the feedback, and then we're able to deliver the final product to the company. So good product design really ensures that concepts move from what's a really good idea on paper to something that works in people's hands and in the marketplace. So we're really just your R&D arm for that we do all the research and all the testing for you. So it takes a lot of the risk out of it, and it just makes the product a lot more sustainable. Another area we also work in is design strategy. So alongside product design, this is quite a big area for us. Really, design strategy is about connecting creativity to business direction. So we always it makes sure that we always look at companies and we help them ensure that they're not just making new things, or like they have a good idea in their head, but we really try and look at what's the right idea for you and for the marketplace, and what is actually going to work long term. So we really help you stress test that and challenge you and challenge the service or the product. And really what we do then is we can align that then to what the market actually needs. We can help with brand positioning, and then which then leads to long-term growth and sustainability. So with design strategy, we can help companies like look for new customer segments, for example. We can reposition a brand in a crowded market. We can also streamline a product portfolio to reduce complexity and cost. So in other words, really, it helps business design with purpose. So really, we just keep the user at the center of everything we do. So it goes back to who is your customer, who are you targeting, who's the market, and it just really helps having a third person in there to challenge the company on that, and just to help them really along, and then help them with ideation. And then what it does then is it creates opportunity for the client. So an example really on products that we worked with a local engineering company recently, and to develop a prototype for them. So this again, so we developed a prototype. It's all in the engineering space. So we did a lot of the product design, we did a lot of the concept creation, then we moved it across to prototyping, we tested for the client, and then it was ready then for commercialization for them to go forward with that. So we used our in-house facilities. We have a rapid prototyping machine, and it also just helps companies gain more confidence when they go through the process with us, because again, we can just help them move to the commercialization stage a lot faster, and again, de-risk the project at a very early stage, which again reduces the financial strain on a company. On the design strategy side, we're we just finished a project actually with a retail SME at the moment to help map the customer journey. So what we did is we sat down with the customer on a one-to-one basis over a series of 4 workshops, like 2.5 hours each is what's the normally what we work on. And what we actually found out is we found gaps in their offering. And this led to the creation of a new service line that now adds more measurable value to the clients. So it's just really having another person looking at your business model at a different angle and putting a design strategy framework on that. So they're just really snapshots of how design can deliver both immediate product outcomes and long-term strategic benefits for companies. And then just to quickly touch on really the key trends we see at the moment is sustainability. I think it's a hot topic. Everybody wants, it's really front and center. Everybody wants to design products which are low impact on materials, which are easy to recycle and easy to reuse. And again, to follow up on Liam's point earlier, it's all about the digital integration and how AI can be integrated into the products and services again. And that's, I suppose, the beauty of SETU, that we have a number of gateways that specializes in different areas that can help you. Even if we can just do part of it, we can then work with the Liam on another part in the AI. So really, what we just encourage companies is to come to us, just have a conversation, no matter how small, even if it's an idea in your head, we can just help you put that in paper and then make it more tangible and then apply for all the funding mechanisms that are available to you. And again, with that, we help companies fill out these applications because everybody hates filling out applications. So we're pretty good at that. We're so used to it. So again, we just encourage you just to get in touch with us, designplus.ie, or on the number that James provided earlier. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Ailish. I'll hand over to Niall, if that's okay.
Yeah, hi everyone, good afternoon. So I head up the Pharmaceutical and Molecular Biotechnology Research Centre, and as the name suggests, we carry out research in pharmaceutical and life sciences and biosciences. We're based on the Cork Road campus here in Waterford, and we have about 40 researchers and staff who are working in a range of different areas, covering things like drug delivery, gene therapy, organic synthesis, sensing, and biomedical science. And one of the key points I'd like to make today is that you don't have to be involved in any of these areas to engage with the PMBRC. So we can take our expertise in chemistry, biology, engineering, biomedical sciences, and we can apply it to a whole range of projects with our industry partners, which is what we currently do. So while we have industry clients in pharmaceutical and medical devices, which are some of our core areas, we also have projects with companies working into food ingredients, food products, veterinary products, engineering sectors, and so on. So the whole variety of biofuels, whole variety of different industries that we work with, and we just take our expertise in chemistry and biology and other areas of science, and we can apply them to various different projects. So we have a wide range of equipment within our centre, a lot of analytical equipment and materials characterization equipment, which again is something which attracts companies in to work with us. I would say our bread and butter projects are in these 3 areas here, with companies. So we do a lot of work on the physicochemical characterization of materials. So this is looking at material properties, things like particle size, crystallinity, polymorphism, surface area, and water absorption properties, and so on. And this is relevant across a whole variety of sectors. So the behavior of materials and how they interact with each other and how they interact with things like water and so on has a huge impact on the performance of products and your ability to manufacture them to the right quality standards. So we have a whole suite of equipment here which allows us to give a very comprehensive picture of the materials that companies are working with, and that helps with companies who have, for example, supply chain. They want to make sure that they have a wide range of suppliers for a particular material. It's just not possible to swap one material off for another without first checking on the material properties. So we do a lot of work in that area. We also have a lot of advanced analytical capability. And in one of the pictures there in the top right, we have a liquid chromatography mass spectrometer, but that's just one of a number of instruments that we have here. And again, we provide a lot of analytical services to industry in analytical science. And then the third area where we're quite active is in formulation science. Some of that is, pharmaceutical formulation, helping companies to develop new products. But we can apply that to other areas such as, medical devices and the food and beverage area as well. It's interesting that both Ramesh and Ailish highlighted sustainability as a hot topic for them, because what we're finding is as well is we've got more and more companies coming to us with projects which have are basically driven by sustainability. So just to give some examples, we recently completed a project with a company based here in Waterford called Antec Limited, and Antec have developed a solvent recycling system which is used in something called HPLC analysis. Now, HPLC is just a standard laboratory technique, very powerful technique used in chemical analysis, but it uses a lot of organic solvents. And Antec developed a device which allowed companies to recycle and reuse a lot of that solvent that's used in the HPLC analysis. And we were able to work with Antec. We installed their device onto various different systems that we have here in our own labs, and worked with them and helped them to refine the technology, debug the device, both from a hardware and software point of view, and make sure that it was ready to go out into the market for customers, which it's currently commercially available now, which is great. And Antec are a small Irish company here based in Waterford. We're currently working with Negate Carbon. So Negate Carbon, also based in Waterford, an SME. Excuse me, an SME with about, I think, 12 employees now, based in Waterford, and they're developing direct air capture sorbents for capturing carbon dioxide from the air. So we were working with them. Again, there's a lot of materials characterization, a lot of surface chemistry involved in this, helping them to develop and improve the sorbents so they can basically capture more CO2 and use it for storage. And then finally, we worked with a company where we replaced the HPLC analysis method with a spectroscopic method. So just to explain this, the company were using HPLC, again, this kind of common chemical analysis to analyze the product, but it took 3 to 4 days to actually do this analysis, because there's quite a bit of time required in preparing the samples, digesting, drying, and analyzing, and so on. And it's quite energy intensive, labor intensive, and solvent intensive. And we were able to actually show them that we could develop a spectroscopic technique using near-infrared spectroscopy. You take the sample, you place it on a spectrometer, you get a spectrum within a couple of seconds. And using, I guess, what Liam would call AI, but we would call chemometrics and data analytics, we were able to actually show that it relate the spectral features to the concentration of the product in the sample, and do that in seconds, literally in seconds, compared to several days, which is required for the HPLC method. So you can see there's just 3 case studies. They're actually all quite different, but they all have sustainability running through them. And we're finding out that more and more companies are coming to us with sustainability driven projects. Things like regulatory changes now with companies getting rid of forever chemicals and polyfluorinated alkyl substances and so on. All of these things now come down the tracks, and companies are more and more sustainability conscious now. So as the guy said, we're open to having discussions with anyone who, and even if there's no harm in picking up the phone and calling us, having a chat, and we can see if we can't help you. We certainly know people across SETU, across the Technology Gateway network, and the wider research centres across Ireland that will be able to help. So I think the main take-home message is get in touch, have a chat, and we'll take it from there. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Niall. So look, I think exactly as Niall finished on there, what's wonderful for me at least was seeing the 4 different gateways talking about deep subject matter expertise, deep capability, insight around strategic thinking and things like that. But again, it's back to the partnerships that we have. In every case, people are talking about whether it's an entrepreneur, a micro enterprise, SME, multinational. That's where the innovation, that's where the rubber hits the road, nearly literally. that you come to us, you know, you might have a problem or you might have an idea, and it's our deep subject matter expertise. It's that key, it's that partnership, bringing those two bits together, make us an innovation entrepreneurial region. So as now I close with, look, reach out to us and contact us, and we'll absolutely respond. And we'll make sure that we can try address your needs and make sure that happens. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open the floor a little bit to a few questions and answers. So feel free, any of the panelists, or sorry, participants, if you want to put in a Q&A, and I'll ask your question. But before that, I'll just start with a question myself. So it's great for, you know, companies who've already worked with, we'll say, you know, ICS or Design Plus, SEAM or PMBRC. You know, they know how to engage with SETU. But what would you say if there is a potential client, you know, on the webinar today? What should they do, or should they do anything before they engage with us? What thoughts should they have, or is there anything they should consider, or is there any other agency they should go to before they engage with ourselves, or can they just come directly to SETU and engage with us?
I can take that if you want, James.
Sure.
So what we'd suggest is, like, I'd say just come straight to us and we can just chat through your idea or your concept, what you have. And we have really good contacts in all the local enterprise office. We contacts with Enterprise Ireland because we're funded by Enterprise Ireland. So really we're in a position then to be able to give you a good strategic direction on what to do. So if we, like Niall said earlier, if we can't help you, we'd be able to say, well, do you know what? I actually know another gateway in Galway or Sligo or whoever that be, and I'd be able to, we'll be able to forge that connection for you. And it's much easier to get in the door to everywhere once you have a face to the name. And we're the face really of SETU when it comes to industry. So, and again, like the local enterprise office, we also work with them on different funding mechanisms on projects in SETU. So again, we just say, just pick up the phone or drop us an email, and we'll sit down in front of you and just chat through what you have. And it doesn't actually matter if it's an idea or a sketch in your head or whatever it is. It's just, but I suppose in order to work with us on innovation vouchers, which I think James has pointed out earlier, is that the caveat is that company needs to be a limited company in order to apply for an innovation voucher, but there is other mechanisms. But typically that's how we engage with companies. But again, we can chat through all that when we meet with you.
Yeah, that's perfect. And I think that's right. Just pick up the phone, call any of us at any stage. And I always say to people, look, I'll probably provide you a free cup of tea. So come into SETU and sit down and we'll have a cup of tea and talk over, you know, absolutely. Now clients may have a concern. You know, they're coming in to work with a big university. One of the things that we do is we have students, we do publications. What about confidentiality? So how does that, you know, maybe Ramesh, if I can ask you, like, don't anyone feel free to jump in. What if a client is worried, you know, maybe you're an MNC and you've got a very bespoke engineering product, or you have some life science, some chemistry product, or some pharmaceutical product. What about confidentiality? What do we do there?
Anyway, the companies doesn't have to be scared at all, because now there is a knowledge transfer. Ireland has come up with a very fantastic template, right? Okay, and because I mean, universities, centers like us, we are not a commercial entities, right? There is no for us, we really want to help industries, right? So there is a proper framework is in place. So you come and talk to us, and because we have done so far 27 innovation partnership programs, right? And they're all very happy with that framework, right? That's what I would say, James. Yeah.
Okay, and maybe now, what about intellectual property? What happens in terms of intellectual property? Again, it might be the big MNCs might have their own legal teams and the like. But if you're a small company, what would happen? Where would you get advice around maybe intellectual property, or what happened? What's the typical arrangement that might happen with the university?
Yeah, I suppose on a very basic level for the innovation vouchers, the intellectual property is 100% owned by the SME. So that's a very safe option for companies to come in. Obviously, it's safe from a financial point of view, because a lot of the money, except for the VAT, is covered by Enterprise Ireland, and then the IP is 100% owned by the company. So it's from that point of view, it's a good option. And also then it gives the company an opportunity to develop a relationship and build up trust between the research center and the company as well. So that's a good starting point. It really depends in terms of IP ownership. It depends on who is funding it. Like, so for the vouchers are considered to be funded by the company. But, you know, once you start asking Enterprise Ireland to stump up 80% of the cost of a project, that's where things get a little bit more complicated because there's European state aid rules that kind of start to kick in. But, you know, I would say to companies, the goal of SETU is not to develop technology and then start selling it and making a fortune here in SETU. That's not what we're about. So we want any technology, any ideas that are developed, we want those commercialized within the local economy or the national economy. We're not out, like, you know, there's no spin-out companies from SETU which were formed based on taking IP from other companies. It would be a disastrous reputationally for us. We would never get funding from any state agency again if we did anything like that. And we've been operating for probably 15, probably 20 years in terms of industry engagement here, and a very good reputation, very good professional services run by your function there, James, in the Technology Transfer Office and Research and Innovation. So, you know, we were well established at this. You know, we have our own procedures in place, you know, well established procedures in place to manage all of these things. So I think companies can come in, and I think building up the trust and relationship between both the gateways, but also with the Tech Transfer Office is really important. And in terms of advice, you know, you can get advice from various different places, and I actually would encourage people to talk to different people: gateways, Tech Transfer Office, local enterprise office, you know, your business, the BICs as well, like, you know, and get advice from various different sources, because no one person has all the answers or all the ideas. And, you know, but I think, you know, definitely for an SME coming into the Tech Transfer Office and talking to the likes of you, James, I think is very beneficial, because most SMEs don't really have the background or the legal, they will have the technical idea, they know the customer, they know the technical aspects of their product, but maybe not so much on the IP side of things. And getting, you know, as a free cup of tea and some advice from you, also free, is a good place to start.
Okay, thanks very much, Noel. Can I ask, just for, you know, companies, like, you've all spoken about different solutions that you provide, and it sounds like, you know, it's all backed up by, you know, with some very expensive equipment. I know, Ramesh, you're talking about CT equipment and stuff, and I don't know, metal printers or millions of euros and things like that. Is there a list of equipment that companies can actually see that we have available within the university, or maybe let me phrase it differently. If a company comes into us, how do they find out, maybe, you know, what is available, what's on offer to us? Is there an easy way to find that out? It can be found out on the websites, or what would I do as a company?
Yeah, so James, I'm sorry, I can take that, right? See, so we have all this so-called sophisticated equipment, right? But the industries will not know what equipment is right for them or anything like that, right? So the best thing always, just call into us, yeah. So we first tell us what your problem is, right? And then we always give a line tour, right, or a facility tour, right? And while giving the tour itself, no, we will tell them for their kind of a problem, okay, these are the equipment which can be used, yeah. So for example, if you take a CT scanner, right, though it looks like a very sophisticated thing, it can do a very simple thing, right? They might have a product, right, and they want to check whether there's a crack inside or anything like that, right? So we can put that, and we can say yes, whether it is there or not, right? So they don't have to be scared about this equipment or anything like that, right? We will tell them what equipment is required for their applications, yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's a key point, Ramesh. That sometimes, you know, especially maybe smaller companies, even large companies, they're pretty sure maybe what equipment they need, but actually the expertise is, you know, the real skill is how you use the equipment to get the results and analyze the results. And I suppose that's where, you know, the gateways here, you do this day to day. So you might look at a CT scan or finite element analysis or something from an AI solution or Bitcoin stuff. And it's not only just looking at it, it's analyzing it, and giving that summary report back can be much more meaningful than just a simple, you know, using a piece of equipment. So what can I ask, you know, I'm just coming at a slightly different angle. For entrepreneurs, you know, they might go through, for example, one of our key programs in Carlow and in Waterford is what's called the New Frontiers program. It's an absolutely wonderful program funded ultimately by Enterprise Ireland. For those founders, who come out of programs like that, how do they engage with the gateway? So maybe you can just talk maybe a little bit about the mechanism for an entrepreneur or a founder of a company. What would they do to engage with the gateways?
I might take that one, James, and to say that I concur 100% with your analysis of the New Frontiers program. Before I joined SETU, I ran that program down in MTU, so I'm a big fan of it. And I think it's a wonderful program and a great start for any entrepreneur to, I suppose, understand their business proposition and to understand the viability of a business proposition, right? And in terms of those early conversations with us in the gateway, then you're having a more fruitful engagement in terms of where you could go with your idea. So I think it's a very good point. We actually in ICS we would engage. We would present to the New Frontiers graduates of Phase 2 each year in both Waterford and Carlow, and I'd imagine Ailish, Ramesh, and Niall probably do similarly. And it just gives those people coming out of Phase 2 of New Frontiers, where they've spent 6 months incubated, really working on their business plan, working on their ability to pitch to the likes of the business incubation centres or Enterprise Ireland or people like that. And we give them an opportunity at that point to kind of, I suppose, engage with us. And as everybody has said so far, the engagement starts with a conversation and a cup of coffee. And look, what is it you're looking to do? How might we be able to help? And the people in the gateways, to blow our own trumpets a little bit, right? We have these conversations daily, so we're improving all the time in terms of understanding what it is that people need and orientating them in the right directions. So it starts with a conversation and it can move on from there. And maybe just to give an example, if you like, right, which we're very focused in the Walton Institute in having those long-term partnerships that Niall was talking about there, and Ramesh and Ailish as well. We're very focused on how we can build those relationships and the mechanisms that are available. We've spoken about the innovation voucher program, the innovation partnership program. I gave an example of Feed Alpha Group in my presentation there, who are a Carlow-based business, and they are looking at delivering social media management solutions ultimately for SMEs worldwide. They came to us, had a conversation like we've just discussed. We, through the EDIH, the entire EDIH program, got them on an initial support there that allowed us really to kind of flesh out the opportunities that existed for Feed Alpha. They subsequently went on to do 2 innovation vouchers based on that initial engagement, and they are now involved in an innovation partnership program with us. And all of that happened over probably about a 12 or 14 month period. So that really probably gives an indication of how you can go from having a cup of coffee and a conversation to doing a project that's worth, north of €150,000 in kind of a 12 to 18 month period by just getting started and picking up the phone.
That's yes, brilliant, Liam. And I think, look, I'd encourage anyone on the call, go onto the website, any of the websites, so SEAM's website, PMB, our own main website, have a look at some of the case studies. So there's wonderful case studies, and I think that's key, Liam, as you say. People often come in for what they think is going to be, a cup of coffee and a small piece of work, but end up in a long-term relationship with us, developing things over a significant amount of time. You might come in, you might talk to Ramesh, and you might find 6 months later you're on a New Frontiers program up in Carlow. You never know, because there's so much. We're here as a support mechanism all around that connecting for impact. So that's absolutely what we want to do. We will find the right opportunities for you to make you as innovative as possible, so that our region can be as innovative as possible. I don't have any questions from the floor, but if anyone would like to ask any questions now before we come to the end of our webinar, that would be great. So I might just give it 30 seconds. If anyone has any questions, feel free to shoot. If not, exactly as everyone said on the call earlier, just drop any of us an email or drop an email to tto@setu.ie, and we'll get back to you as soon as possible with the response. Okay, Deirdre, unless any questions, I'll hand over to you.
Hi there. Sorry, I'm just trying to share my screen here again. Just go to the last slide there. So just to end there, if anyone would like a copy of the slides, you can scan the QR code there and we will send them out to you, or a copy of the recording. And these are just some of the events that Walton are attending over the next few weeks. And most of our colleagues, I'd say, will be attending, probably most of them as well. Thank you all for taking the time to talk to everyone, and thank you for all the participants for joining the webinar. I think, as everyone says, really we're just reiterating it. SETU are here. We're open. We want to work with companies in the region and beyond. So yeah, just get in touch. And if you don't know who to contact, you can contact the TTO office, and they can direct your query from there. And again, if you have a connection with someone in the university, go to them, and they can direct you. We're all, we're especially in the Gateway team here, we all support each other. So yeah, and I think on that note, I will finish up, I think, unless anyone else has anything else to add.
Thank you very much. Oh,
is there a question there?
Yeah, there is a question, sorry. So there's a question in, so someone is asking, is it better to talk to that's a good question, is it better to talk to the gateways before applying for the New Frontiers program? So that's quite that's actually quite a complex question. I'm happy to take that directly, but look, feel free, any of the gateways, feel free. I would suggest that you could do them both potentially at the same time. So for example, you could contact our New Frontiers program. Eugene Crehan is the manager in Waterford and Gemma Purcell is the manager in Carlow. And then you could either speak directly with Liam or with Ailish on their respective campuses, just have a chat, and they'll give you guidance as to whether or not the Gateway or the New Frontiers is the best option for you. And it will depend on circumstances. So it may be the case that it's better to go through New Frontiers before the Gateway. And that would often be the case, especially if you're a relatively new entrepreneur. So it's a little bit, it depends, but I would definitely either link up with either Eugene or Gemma, and then with Liam and Ailish respectively, just to have that conversation in the first instance. Okay, I think that's it. Thank you very much.
And thank you all.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you.
Bye now.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.